broadcasting from the Unshackled studios in Melbourne. This is WilmsFront, brought to you by the Unshackled.net. Now here's Tim Wilms.
Hello and welcome to tonight's show. The date is Wednesday, the 4th of December 2019. It is 7 p.m. here in Melbourne. We are live on the Tim Wilms YouTube channel. We are also live on Entropy, which is the YouTube enhanced software where you can ask us questions throughout the show. And you can also send through a super chat donation to support this show and the work of the Unshackled. And if we feel like it, we can do a poll question for you. Now it's been a hectic news week, so I thought what the best thing would be to do tonight is a midweek digest to summarize and analyze all of the important takeaways. But of course, at WilmsFront, we don't regurgitate the fake corporate news. Most of the important news developments, those that the mainstream media, they'd rather you not talk or ask questions about. But we never forget things that have happened in the recent past here at WilmsFront and at the Unshackled. We, on this show, like to remind you about the actual reality that is taking place. Now, I've used the word we tonight because I'm not doing this show alone tonight. I'm joined, he's a regular on WilmsFront now, the Unshackled's Brisbane reporter, Martin Hartwig. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can, and so can our
Great.
audience. How have you been, Martin?
Yeah, pretty good. Little middle-aged triumph. Got a new vacuum cleaner today, so that's exciting.
And I know that you took I'm just making you a bit bigger here on the screen here, because you have got quite a bright, for our viewers, a bright orange shirt on.
Tommy Bahama, baby.
I noticed my audience, they were a bit taken aback by my red shirt that I wore on last Friday's show, because it turned out pink on air.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, my masculinity isn't so fragile that I would be, uncomfortable with that. So, yeah, maybe you need to toughen up, Tim, if you're worried about that. No, this is like coral orange. Big fan.
And last month, because we're in December now, that's that annoying sound thing. I've just changed you up a bit because it's always I'm the sound man as well. I've got to make sure that our volumes are both the same, so they don't get a voice blast anytime that one of us speak. Back in November, you took the No Nut November pledge. How did that go?
Yes. It went really well, actually. I am partnered, as you may know. So I think the essence of No Nut November is recommitment to your partner and acknowledging the negative effects of pornography on your relationship. And I think it's something it's always icky and uncomfortable to talk about. But there is a thing known as porn-induced erectile dysfunction.
Yes.
But yeah, I think I lasted 4 days, and then, but I'm talking natural release here. So that's what it's all about, though, right? And I feel uncomfortable talking about this. So, shall we move on?
I suspect at the end of November, the drought of a certain fluid would have broken.
Someone sent me a meme, and it's of the it's like, anyway. November's over, but I had my mustache before November. This isn't like it's men's mental health issues are an issue year round. So, plus I look great with a mustache.
No,
so
you look like a creep.
Deal with it. Oh well, I can deal with that.
Yes, well...
That's just your opinion, Tim.
Yes, it is my opinion, but mine's an important opinion. I'm the host of the show, so if I say something, then you should definitely take it on board.
I'm not shaving the mo, Tim. I only shave my mo for jobs where I get paid.
Well, I might have to arrange. I know where you live. Somebody will come in the middle of the night and shave it off.
I'll get a voice changer and just wear a bag over my head. How's that?
Yes,
Be a
but
new anonymous contributor.
we can see the shape of you though still.
All right. What's on the agenda today, Tim?
Where do we start? So obviously it's the final week of federal parliament this week after the Morrison government was humiliated at the end of last week when Pauline Hanson and Malcolm Roberts, they shocked the government by voting against the Union Ensuring Integrity Bill, which would disqualify criminals such as John Setka from being union officials, the same way the company directors are disqualified if they're convicted of certain offences. So it was a deadlocked vote, but apparently there were gasps in the chamber as because the Morrison government thought they had the vote in their pocket. Pauline, she's playing much more tough in this term of Parliament, though the unions, they didn't want to give her and Malcolm Roberts credit for voting against it because, of course, Pauline is still she's still a horrible far-right person to the union movement, even though she's for Australia first.
It was great watching the people on the left like lose their minds. They're like, socialist alternative, they wrote an article, they're like, we shouldn't have to rely on the far right to save us, we should be stronger. They're all really, they don't know how to feel. Like, they hate Pauline Hanson, but she did something that benefits them, so they're kind of just shaking with rage and not sure what to do. It's a little bit funny.
It's like when Trump does something that the left should like. They're sort of confused what to do. Because Trump, last week, he signed a bill making severe animal cruelty a federal felony offence. And so everyone was saying, how are the left going to react to this? And I made the point that the Nazis, one of the first thing they did was pass an animal welfare bill. So Trump is doing literally what Hitler did.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Like, you know who else loved animals? Hitler.
Well, I noticed that a lot of the Australian patriots, they have pet dogs. So that's, of course, another correlation there.
Yep. I have a pet dog myself. Love it. Oh no, does that ruin your image of me as a far right bad guy? Sorry. There's 2 points that I wanted to talk about. I don't know. Are you going to do an overview and then go into the things?
Yes, I'm going to go into, because that was last week in federal parliament. This week, today, the Morrison government, they were able to substantially repeal their Medivac legislation, which basically took a lot of the power out of the Home Affairs Minister, Peter Dutton, for medical evacuations from Nauru of asylum seekers. So unelected, unaccountable doctors were able to decide if an asylum seeker could come to Australia for medical treatment. But of course, if they come here, then the asylum seeker lawyers get involved and it's impossible to send them back to Nauru. And of course, the sort of absurdity was pointed out when there was, I believe he was an Iranian asylum seeker. He had a botched self-penis enlargement, so it had to be rushed to Australia. I suggested that he probably used the Austin Powers penis enlargement kit, which, if you watch the end of the first movie, he uses as a deadly weapon. So, yes.
Well, I mean, that's the whole point of offshore detention, is because anyone who's old enough to remember back to the early 2000s when they were onshore, they would be perpetually picketed by these far left miscreants who believe that borders are bad and we need to abolish borders in order to decolonize. But that's the reason why we have this dehumanizing offshoring process.
Of course, there's a certain group of people who you're allowed to dehumanize endlessly.
Yep.
People like us.
Yeah. Oh, I'm shocked. I'm shocked to hear you say that. I wasn't actually sure what you were alluding to. I had two things. One was about Operation Werewolf being banned on Instagram.
Oh, what's that?
I don't
What's
know if
that?
you're familiar with that. All right. Operation Werewolf is basically a cult of strength. On their website, they describe themselves as equal parts fight club, strength regimen, motorcycle club, and esoteric order. There's a lot of sweet aesthetics and tattoos and runes and that kind of thing, but it's the concept of it is rebuilding yourself as an individual from rock bottom. So the founders kind of overcame substance abuse, relationship breakdown, and using discipline and like a pretty strict workout regimen got absolutely jacked. And it's not about being like a jock and bullying people. It's about making strong the body as a vessel for the mind and the soul. I've never seen them post anything that's their whole thing is, only the weak want equality, right? They don't believe in equality.
Yes,
Equality
well,
is a false god.
that's their first sin there. And do you know also who else hit rock bottom in 1914 and was basically a vagrant?
I don't know, Tim.
Hitler. So self-improvement. Look what that led to.
You're right. We should probably just sit around eating junk food, not working out, ripping bongs all day, and then wondering why our mental health is shite. Yeah. But yeah, so they were banned on Instagram. And I guess the other point that we were going to get to, I guess now or later, was the London Bridge attack. Which one? Are we up to number 3 now? I don't know. I've lost track.
It's the second one because I typed in London Bridge attack into Wikipedia. It came up with 4. I'll just go back to what it came up with because I think I've got London Bridge attack. So there was the 1884 attack on London Bridge, the 1992 London Bridge bombing. The 2017 London Bridge attack, that was right before the 2017 United Kingdom general election, and the 2019 London Bridge stabbing. So that song, "The London Bridge is Falling Down," it predicted the future. Maybe they just need to just basically tear down that bridge just so there can't be any terror attacks because the bridge doesn't exist anymore.
They need to rebuild it in a modernist style. Get rid of all that ugly colonialist.
Maybe put some minarets on the top of it. That would certainly, I think.
Got to make it out of steel and glass. Chuck some minarets on the top. Maybe a rainbow paint job.
Oh no, rainbow, because I think that would upset the new residents of Birmingham. We shouldn't call it Birmingham anymore because ham, of course, is forbidden in Islam. Maybe Birmingstan. No,
I think rainbow minarets would look quite lovely on the new London Bridge.
Oh well, they'd be at the top of. Obviously, these rainbow minarets, they're at the top.
Of course,
because
you'd have to be able to climb up there to throw the people off.
Yes. So that's what I was getting at. I noticed that Burger King, I think it was, I'm not sure if it was in the UK or somewhere else, but they stopped serving hamburgers now. I haven't downloaded the meme, but Imam Tawhidi, his first name is Mohammed, and which is the most popular Muslim male name. It's got ham in it.
I don't understand getting so like. Have you ever seen that video of that like teenager at KFC? It must have been in like Bankstown or Lakemba or something. It's a KFC, and someone goes in and they ask for like a hamburger, and he full loses his He goes off his gourd and he starts like flipping things over, and he's like, "Don't ask for him, bro." It's like, all right, calm down, mate.
Well, KFC, their ad this week.
Yes.
Shall I play it? I can get it up for. It only goes for 15 seconds. I've downloaded it, but I haven't got it ready to go. Do we want to have a look at it while we're on the topic? We're sort of just going. Sure. We're doing a sort of Maddie and Dave, I feel, at the moment, just sort of going off in tangents all over the place.
Yeah, well, we should start with the key points first and then branch out.
I think it's flowing so far. If anyone's not liking this, please complain in the comments. But yes, this is the KFC ad that everyone's talking about. Oh, did it come up here? Oh, no, it didn't. I'll try it again. But yes, I saw...
It's got a very interesting like to dislike.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Couple. Oh, no. Did someone say KFC?
I don't care. I love it.
Yes, so apparently this is an anti-white ad because the white girl, she chooses to kiss the black man rather than the white ginger. But yeah, I think this is overblown personally, because if you've said this is KFC have done a heap of these ads where there's awkward moments, and the punchline is, did someone say KFC? And so obviously everyone believes that her kissing this black man is awkward for this ginger white guy, and so that's why Damien Fleming says, did someone say KFC? Because apparently KFC gets rid of all the awkwardness.
Yeah, well, a couple of points on that. Someone of the left would say that it's a fetishization of
yes,
blacks,
because a lot of women, they have exotic fantasies about black men, which is what you call sexual racism. Yeah, and
the other point is the reason why it's controversial is because why isn't it that everybody else is white in the crowd, and then there's the one guy who's not white, and she chooses. It could have been a white person.
Yes, but she was sitting next to him.
Yeah, I think the point is that it's overt messaging. It's pretty overt signaling, and it's even normal people are starting to notice it. You know, you walk around the shopping center and the demographics might be a certain way, or they might. It's similar to how LGBT, A, B, C, D, E, F, G people are overrepresented in media now, and they only make up a small percentage of the population.
It's not enough. GLAAD, the United States-based LGBT lobby group, they want 25% of characters on television in the US to be LGBT.
That's almost going to be a parody at that point of themselves. At what point does it become irrelevant that a person's gay? Like, how many characters in shows, right? Do you even think about, oh, I wonder what their sexuality is? No, you wonder about what is their contribution to the narrative or to the story, or to, you know, like, oh, here's a very obviously forced insertion of this character's sexuality. People are talking about in Frozen 3, should Elsa be a lesbian?
Well, did you hear about what was that? There was a machete fight at a Frozen. I can't remember where that was.
In the UK.
UK, yes, and everyone, of course, was saying that the Joker, that was where all the violence was going to be by the incels, but it turns out it was Frozen.
No, it was just a lot of Joker was just a bunch of kings respecting each other, and whereas, you know, we clearly have toxic femininity on display here.
The machete fight was in Birmingham, England.
Okay.
That's according to Dr. Foster, 1968. I noticed that everyone was commenting frenetically in the chat, but they've all stopped now. Please restart again, because we love you all jabbering on in the comments. It's half the fun.
Yeah, for sure. If Dee is watching, I don't know if she's watching. I've noticed that she generally has her audio much louder than her guest's audio, which is quite jarring. So if you're watching this, maybe see what you can do about that.
Well, her show's on after this at 8:30 p.m. Melbourne time, so she's going on very soon. So hopefully she'll be able to take your free advice and correct it for her upcoming show.
So what else is on the agenda, Tim?
Oh, yes, of course, breaking news this afternoon that Israel Folau has settled his unfair dismissal lawsuit with Rugby Australia. I'll just go through. This is from Stuff in New Zealand, which is owned by Fairfax. I'll just bring up the article here. Rugby Australia apologises to Israel Folau after reaching settlement over his sacking. So it was 14 hours of negotiations or mediation. While it was not Rugby Australia's intention, Rugby Australia acknowledges and apologises for any harm or hurt caused to the Folaus. That obviously includes his wife, Maria Folau, who is a New Zealander. Similarly, Mr. Folau did not intend to hurt or harm the game of rugby and acknowledges and apologises for any hurt or harm caused. The two parties said in a joint statement issued on Wednesday afternoon. Folau and his team were delighted at the outcome, a source close to the camp said. And of course, this was all over his contract with Rugby Australia was terminated over his Sinners Instagram post. And it also said, the statement went on to say, the social media post reflected Mr. Folau's genuinely held religious beliefs, and Mr. Folau did not intend to harm or offend any person when he uploaded the social media post. Mr. Folau wants all Australians to know that he does not condone discrimination of any kind against any person on the grounds of their sexuality, and he shares Rugby Australia's commitment to inclusiveness and diversity. Rugby Australia and Rugby New South Wales do not in any way agree with the content of the social media post. Inclusiveness is one of Rugby Australia's core values and welcomes all people to the game, including all members of the LGBTI community. Yes. Yeah, so it's basically so basically, Rugby Australia has said we apologise if this was stressful for Folaus, and they've got also Israel Folau to say never intended to offend or I don't support discrimination against anyone. So it's basically both parties saying, well, we're all in the wrong here, but we've come to. It's a confidential settlement, so it's now a guessing game about what it is. Confidential means all the parties are bound by lifelong secrecy.
Oh, we've got Neil Erickson in the chat here. Hi, Neil. Good to see you again, mate. And he points out that Israel Folau's donations were for a court case into religious freedoms, not for a settlement. That's a very good point. It'll be interesting to see if he uses those donations to buy another holiday house or if he actually puts them into some sort of lobbying.
Because the Australian Christian Lobby raised $2 million because he got kicked off GoFundMe for violating their terms and conditions. I found it so interesting at the time that everyone was shocked that GoFundMe would dare do this. What? Had social media deplatforming, financial deplatforming. You only discovered that had happened in 2019. You didn't pay attention when it was happening to Blair Cottrell or Enrique Tarrio, the chairman of the Parrot Boys.
Can't say his name, or you'll get the video taken down. Oh no!
That was Facebook showing it. I showed an image of him, and I noticed that Dia has also been in trouble for mentioning the Senator Slayer's name as well. So the pair of them are basically the Lord Voldemorts of Facebook.
Yes, because they represent a potential for real harm to people.
Yes, dangerous individuals. We're in incredible danger.
Look out. Yeah, really need to write a book. You need to write a book and get out there. Get on the morning shows and plug your book. Go do some publicity stunts and plug your book. Write a book and then do publicity stunts to plug the book.
Probably
we can make it happen.
Probably the book would be deemed a harmful manifesto of some sort.
Yeah, good. Yeah, the more they rail against it, the just free publicity. Let's make it happen.
Yes, but we shall see if me mentioning their names, anything will happen to this episode. Because my episode, it was WilmsFront 24, 30 years later, where I interviewed Blair Cottrell. That is still up on the Tim Wilms channel, and also the various segments and highlights have been uploaded to the Unshackled main channel, so they're all still there.
Right. Well, yeah, they're probably demonetized, right? Or does our YouTube no longer get it monetization? I don't know how it works. Is that classified?
Yes, that is classified information. We don't want
Very good.
to give any information away.
Yes, fair enough. Getting back to the London Bridge attack. Wow. This is really an interesting story.
Yes, we should name the terrorist Usman Khan, who was 28 years old, because I don't believe in censoring the names of terrorist perpetrators, because that is censoring the news. He had just been released from prison. He was convicted in 2012 of planning an attack on the London Stock Exchange. He was initially sentenced to an indefinite period, but that was overturned on appeal in 2013, reduced to 16 years. And all terrorists, those convicted of terrorism offences, let out after half their sentence. So basically, he had just got out, and the two victims, Jack Merritt and Saskia Joan, they had been attending a Learning Together conference just at the end of the London Bridge, which was talking about rehabilitating offenders such as Usman Khan.
Yeah, that's the ultimate irony is, I saw this meme, I shared it, yeah, you saw it today, where it's, hey, at least I wasn't called racist, and it's his, like, chopped off head saying that. You know, his dad's going, oh, my son's so woke, you know, he's the future, racism is the past. And then there's the follow-up tweet like, my son wouldn't want his death to be politicized. Well, I'm sorry, mate, but your son was trying to work towards, you know, releasing these dangerous people back into society. And this terrorist, he played them like a fiddle. They wanted so badly to believe that they could rehabilitate these people, right, that just have this deep-seated fundamental hatred for the kafir. They wanted to believe so bad, and he could clearly see that. So he was just like, all right, I'll tell them what they want to hear. These poor idiots, they gave him a laptop. He was banned from using the internet. They gave him a special laptop, which he obviously
don't forget he had the ankle bracelet on, which is supposed to GPS track him.
Well, yeah, and he was supposed to be banned from London, yet they managed to get him to come to this conference. And I mean, probably the one thing that confuses me about this is why he's chosen to attack the people who were dumb and compassionate enough and naive enough to facilitate his release. Why did he attack them? It was almost like he was gleefully striking out at them, like, you poor dumb fools, like you freed the evil genie from the bottle, and my final act shall be dispatching you. But yeah, that's the ultimate irony of this. It's when will people understand that there are some people who cannot be rehabilitated? There is just evil inherently in some people's hearts. And the other point I'd like to make is it should be pretty clear by now that there is an agenda here where they cannot admit that, you know, there is portions like there was another thing in New South Wales today where they arrested I guess you'd say somebody of the Muslim faith for attempting to radicalize young people towards political violence. I was watching the live coverage of it today, and they made sure to emphasize this is not about a religion. This is about criminality. Yeah, okay. Yep. Except that they're overrepresented in this particular aspect of criminality, which is particularly heinous. And yeah, okay. Nothing to do with their religion. Got it.
A lot of people have been saying that this man's murder, Jack Merritt, is of course ironic, given that basically the end result of what he advocated for was being stabbed to death. And it actually reminded me of this is a 3-year-old story here. Norwegian rape survivor feels guilty. The man who assaulted him was deported. Karisten Nordahl Huken, who describes himself as a feminist and anti-racist, was sexually attacked 5 years ago. He said that although the incident was caused by a spiral of depression and substance abuse, he felt bad about the fact the man had been deported to Somalia when he had already served his prison sentence. He said he also wanted to break the taboo over male rape. He said he was a bit taken surprised by how he reacted to the news that he would be deported. The tears came then the moment I sat in the car. I felt relief and joy that he was going away forever. I felt the Norwegian government took on the responsibility to exercise the ultimate revenge like an angry father confronts his child abuser, but also got a strong sense of guilt and responsibility. I was the reason why he should not be left in Norway, but rather face a very uncertain future in Somalia. He had already served his sentence in prison. Should he now be punished again, and this time much harder?
How is deportation the ultimate revenge? Like that is not. That's called consequences for your actions. It's called if a country is, welcomes you, don't rape somebody. That's called like actual justice. We've got in so many cases where. For example, these terrorists here in London, this London Bridge attack, 5 or 6 other of his accomplices were released after 6 years? Like, all that's happened is they've gone into prison, they've built up this okay, what's our story? How do we convince these people that we're rehabilitated so we can get back out there as quickly as possible and complete the mission, right? And they become more radicalized in prison, because another aspect of the prison system is Islam seems to dominate the inside prisons, from accounts that I've heard, because they also get special privileges, and it allows them to exercise some form of power over the guards because they have religious freedom. Hey, you have to let me, pray 6 times a day. It's a way for them to regain some level of power, I think. And they can go, I'm not going to eat this. This isn't halal, right? It's taking that small amount of power back. So I think it appeals, and there's also aspects of thuggishness within the Islamic faith that appeal to these people. It kind of explains that it's okay to be, a violent warlord and a thug, as long as you do these things towards non-believers, right? You can. Anyway.
A lot of people say sarcastically after a Islamist attack like this, and we should also say that Usman Khan, he was born in the UK, but was obviously the child of Pakistani immigrants. And also a lot of people pointed out that the officer who led the operation to basically stop this terror attack was a police officer of Indian heritage, and obviously India and Pakistan are next to each other. No, he didn't have a turban on, but people pointed out two sets of non-Indigenous people to Britain, and obviously have taken on very different paths.
Yeah, and they talk a lot of trash about the Polish immigrants as well in the UK, but it was a Polish guy with the narwhal tusk. That was badass. Our viewers may have seen the memes of like embrace tradition or rediscover your heritage, and it's the picture of the Polish hussars.
I remember there's this based Polish minister from the Law and Justice Party. I can't remember his name, but basically because his English is really good, he goes on, was it Channel 4 with Kathy Newman or Al Jazeera, and like I asked him why Poland hasn't taken any immigrants, and he was asked on Al Jazeera, a lot of people are being concerned about Polish migrants in the UK committing offences, and his response was like, arrest them. That's what you do if you commit a crime in a country, you arrest them. He's like, I don't care if they're Poles, if they committed an offence, arrest them. Which was basically, he has an awesome comeback for...
Checkmate. Eastern Europe's based. Like, did you see another Eastern European news? Hungary has controversially decided that they will not be participating in the next Eurovision competition, as I believe it was Viktor Orban said that it was, quote, too gay.
Yes, he wants to encourage Hungarians to reproduce.
And he's put forward a lot of policies that are making that happen, and I think we should be, we should be doing that in Australia.
Dominic Talzinski, he's basically this troll Polish MP who goes on all these Western liberal networks, and basically it's like, he said we don't have terrorism vigils in Poland, we have borders.
Yep. And they have homogenous communities which have a very high low crime. I think I had a friend who just traveled to the, like, Eastern Europe, and he's like, bro, you have to visit like Bulgaria and like, I think it was Bulgaria and like Poland. He's like, bro, it's utopia. Like, it's, you can just walk the street at 2 a.m. You know, the streets are clean as, people are friendly, they smile at you. It's like small country town, even in like medium-sized cities.
So Port Film Co-op is complaining about the audio again. I've probably turned myself down too much now. I've turned you up a bit, Martin. How's that now, Port Film Co-op?
Steel. How's that?
Because I know Port Film Co-op, well, as his name suggests, he is a film buff and as they're called, an audiophile. So if something's wrong, he'll tell me. But yes, I think this Polish MP, he might have, I'm not sure if he was the same one, he wanted to, I think, grant political asylum to the Covington Catholic schoolboys after they were attacked by the US mainstream media.
Yeah, and speaking of those Covington boys, that there was something quite reminiscent of that scandal this week in Australian politics with the young Liberal National Party lads who did a video at the Gold Coast at schoolies. That really got blown out of the water.
Yes.
Do we want to talk about that for a moment?
I played the racist statement that was made in that video, which the interviewer of that will name and, well, of course everyone's naming and shaming them, but there's a lot of people who want to name and praise them.
Yeah, without saying anything too bad. Like, I think it's funny that they've magnified the point that he's made. Why do we idolize a culture that didn't even invent the wheel? Like, there's how could he say this? But they're putting that idea out everywhere, and there's going to be normal people that, you know, see that and go, he's like, that's a pretty fair point.
Yeah.
But okay, so.
Oh wait, Port Film Co-op has said audio file, that court case against me was dropped. What did you do? What did you do where the microphone? I don't want to know.
What was I going to say? Labor Party. Why can't the bloody Labor Party win an election? Well, it's because Young Labor, instead of pushing, making very clear, concise, easily digestible policies regarding things that will improve the conditions of the working class and middle class in Australia. They instead choose to focus on pointing out racism in young liberals. Like, of course, but that's not putting forward an argument. That's just attacking the. It's like what are your policies? What are your arguments?
Yes,
this is why you can't win an election, because young people are losing opportunities to the 400,000 people coming into the country every year. You've got multiple generations of accumulated knowledge in the trades being lost because the opportunities are drying up. You've got stagnating wages. What's the Labor Party doing about that? What are the unions actually doing about that? The answer: sweet F all.
Yeah, now I'm going to play the clip now. I've found it, and trigger warning, this is an offensive fact. Doesn't work. It happened with the last one.
All right.
Yeah, I'll try importing it again. For some reason, the program keeps messing up here. Let's see.
Personally, I'm
Oh, here we
Yeah,
go.
well,
Here we go. I've got it.
Stand out on our stages and not sing the national anthem. They're putting our Australian jumper on. They're going to sing the anthem. I mean, we got to stop celebrating a culture that couldn't even invent the bloody wheel, for God's sake. We got to stop celebrating a culture that couldn't even invent the bloody wheel, for God's sake. We got to start enjoying and living in Western culture.
Yes, so as the graphic says, that was the Gold Coast Young Liberal chairman, Barclay McGain, who was laughing at the man who said that Jake Scott, he actually wasn't just some random guy at schoolies. He was a young LNP volunteer. So yes,
I don't know how silly you have to be to think that wouldn't come back to bite you. Like, oh, I'm a bit of a lefty. I'm totally not in the Young Liberal National Party, so I could. But it's just. But that's the thing. They're young people. They're not fully. Their brains haven't fully developed yet. It's the same. Yet people are jumping on them. We have to teach them a lesson. We have to, we have to gang up on them and bully them, and because they're privileged, we have to use this as an opportunity for praxis. But yeah, the reaction that they got is probably not going to have the impact that people reacting expect.
Now, the LNP state opposition leader, Deb Frecklington, she got into trouble yesterday because she said that the video was inappropriate and the party is taking action. She was, it looks like she was coerced by the mainstream media into saying today she's acknowledged it was racist. I've said they were racist. I've actually said they were inappropriate. I've said that I apologize for them. Why should you apologize for? You didn't do it. You didn't do it. Why should you?
This is the thing. You've got the Labor Party, Young Labor or whatever, trying to get an apology out of them. What the fuck is an apology going to do? It's not going to undo the video. All it is blood in the water to these people. So that would be an epic rookie move if they were to apologize. Because then as soon as they apologize, they go, okay, make them stand down now. Okay, now take your pants off. Okay, now do a dance for me. It's not going to end. C.S. Lewis, spoke about this. It's the mentality of a person with an inferiority complex. They will never be sated. You can't give these people an inch. The only thing they respect is raw power. That's why they idolize people like Stalin and idolize people like Che Guevara, even though he executed gays and minorities. The politics of envy. You can't sate these people.
People have been triggered by the what you said, pants off. We don't want to know.
To illustrate a point. Illustrate a point.
Yeah, it's got people wondering what you've got on underneath, because of course.
Do you want me to do a little turn for them?
No, God, no. This is, please.
I'm wearing pants. All right, I'm wearing pants.
You promise?
I do. I promise. Hey, I offered to stand up. I wouldn't. That's
All right. Yes. Let's move on. So yes,
Jesus, man.
yes. Barclay McGain, Jake Scott, and the other producer of that video, he didn't say anything inappropriate, but of course his crime was helping, or featuring in that video and also producing it. Mr. McGain has said the powers that be had banned him from commenting about the incident, and it was also revealed, or it's been deleted now, Barclay McGain had a YouTube channel, Trump Talks, where during a trip to China he decided to impersonate Trump and used some old slang to describe the Chinese, which of course is also racist these days.
Yeah, I think it's just free publicity. It's if you're not afraid of the backlash, if you're able to hold your ground, that's probably a good way to get free publicity. Elon Musk.
Yes, he called them. He called the Chinese chickadee chongs, which.
Ooh,
yeah,
that's offensive. You can't say that.
But of course, would any actual Chinese person living in China be offended by that, or is it just white people in Australia? White people being offended on that's basically what it is. And I love that Bill Maher, who's the old school liberal talk show host in the United States, saying white people, you can't be more offended than the actual person who's supposed to be offended.
Yeah. Indeed. Yeah, that was about Andrew Yang. He was like, yeah, no, it's fine.
Here we're saying,
the guy shouldn't have lost his job.
Well, he just wanted to have a conversation with the SNL host, but SNL sacked him.
Yeah, now it just goes straight to, who's this person's employer? I'm going to contact their employer. Like far out. Like if you want to drive the debate toward, like, there's just no debate anymore. You can't have a disagreement, because straight away NPCs, what do when you have a disagreement or you play devil's advocate? They go, okay, I have to put this person in a category. Do they look like they have my views? They do not. He does not have a trans rights banner on his profile picture. He must be an alt-right. He is the enemy. Oh, okay, I'm going to react all of your posts now. I'm not going to engage with you. Wrecked. That's the level of discussion that we have now. There's no possibility for nuance at all.
People are noticing I'm rubbing my forehead quite a bit because my hair is already long enough that there's a rogue hair going on my forehead now, for our viewers.
Yeah, I don't know, man. You're criticizing my mustache, but you need to get your hair in order, son. I noticed you did your hair for Mr. Cottrell.
That's what people said, that I got what's termed a fash cut, which if people saw the Dusty Bogans live stream before, he sported a new haircut. He claimed that it was to get the same haircut as Israel Folau to celebrate his settlement, but I commented, no, that's a fash cut.
No, I've abandoned that. I've embraced tradition and my people and my heritage. I call this hairstyle the Dane mane due to my Danish heritage. Very proud of that.
We should go international now, I think, and the United States presidential race. There's been another dropout from the Democrat primary. Kamila Harris, who, a lot of people were predicting she would get the nomination, the senator from California. But of course, she basically got destroyed by Tulsi Gabbard during the second debate, because Kamila Harris, she of course, all the Democrats now champion criminal justice reform, and Tulsi Gabbard stated a fact which the other candidates dared not say, that during her time as a state prosecutor and attorney general, she kept non-violent offenders, non-violent drug offenders locked up. because she wanted to use them as cheap labor. And Kamila Harris, she didn't have a response to it. She couldn't respond to it. And so basically, yes, Kamila Harris,
because it's true.
Yeah, she shared a whole bunch of campaign stuff recently, and so now she's just ran out of money. And one of her senior campaign workers resigned recently, saying that they'd never witnessed staff being treated so poorly. And of course, the irony is Kamila Harris, she's a state prosecutor. She's supposed to evaluate evidence. She immediately believed Jesse Smollett's story about being attacked by two white MAGA supporters in Chicago. She called it a modern day lynching. So basically, she's
an idiot, basically, to put it simply. Yeah, that whole thing about the prison industrial complex, that's so messed up what they have in the States. Though most people would be familiar with the idea that they have to keep the prisons chock-a-block because they make so much money off them. Like the prisons make several $1,000s a year per prisoner that they have there. And there was this one case, a local judge in a county was jailed because he was receiving funds for every person that he put in there. Like that's directly on the sly. Like it wasn't like an open thing. He was putting people in for jaywalking, really, really stupid stuff, just ruining young people's future. But this is what I don't get. You see people of the like extreme left, like there was that woman on Q&A who said, how many men do we have to kill?
Yeah, Mona. Well, she wrote that in a book, Mona. That perhaps we need to kill 1 million men to defeat patriarchy. Basically,
maybe 6 million.
She was basically advocating a final solution to the patriarch question. That's how I saw it. And she wrote that in a book.
For submission. Yeah, well, the point that I'm getting to is that she was like, I don't believe in the prison system. I'm sorry, what? How do you propose that we run society without some form of, it comes from this belief that, nobody's inherently evil, right? That everyone must be like me. I wouldn't do this bad thing. So, why should we lock these people up? Prisons are just used to lock up innocent people. Like, no, go to a prison. There's people in there who belong there, who you wouldn't want as your neighbor. Bad people exist. Evil exists. Prisons exist for a reason. They have always existed. As long as, well, I mean, maybe back Neolithic times they might not have had jails. They probably just, executed people or exiled them, which was the same thing as basically, dooming somebody to death by starvation because humans were so dependent on each other, hunter-gatherer times and all that. We've always had prisons. Like 2,000 years ago, in biblical times, there was prisons back then. Why did they have prisons then?
Well, there was also exile as well. Adam and Eve were exiled from the Garden of Eden for eating the forbidden fruit.
Yeah, and we don't. Well, I mean, we should have exile in the form of deportation.
Yes, but yeah, for migrants who rape locals, like what happened in Norway.
Oh, don't read the comments. Oh, jeez, oh man.
Yeah, see, I told you so.
I discovered something this week. I don't know if you're familiar with. You should be familiar with it. The guy who ran Super Deluxe, who was that YouTube channel, who now who was going after the Proud Boys, and he was making lots of videos trying to chuck off at them. Now Super Deluxe took down all their videos. Circa 2016, they had a heap of funny videos of Trump. They were trying to, but they took them down because they actually made Trump look good, and they were contributing to Trump's popularity. Like, they were hilarious. That it'd be like Trump would say something, and then there'd be air horns, and then it would make everybody else look like bumbling idiots. And they took them down. I didn't even notice, but someone's helpfully re-uploaded them. And watching them again, it's like, oh man, 2016, what a time.
Have a look at the latest comment about your appearance.
That I'm your childhood.
No.
Yes. A pool
About,
cleaner.
yes.
I'll take that. I'll take that. That's an improvement.
You could also pass for Borat as well. Does that mean you're going to make a speech at the ADL in the future?
Yag Shemaj. Yeah, and that was quite ironic, wasn't it? You know, he spent his whole time chucking off at people, and now
defaming and slandering people.
Yeah. I don't think he's going to be allowed into Kazakhstan. Let's just say that.
Or maybe I've been thinking maybe he's playing like 4D chess here. Maybe his speech to the ADL, it's a troll. Like he's actually trolling like as himself. Because how could he lack that self-awareness to make that statement?
You blow my mind.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Maybe this is some sort of modern 5D chess, real life character trolling by Sacha Baron Cohen.
I don't think he has enough agency to do that. He's yeah. Are we? I think we're getting pretty close to wrap up time, aren't we?
No, we've still got a half an hour. I'll just remind people that we are on. Well, we've still got other topics to talk about. Unless why are you?
Oh no, I just.
Are you
crucial gamer time?
Are you triggered by all the harsh comments?
Yeah, they really hurt my feelings. I'm gonna go and eat a freshly made pavlova that my partner has made.
Yeah.
That's probably going to eat the whole pavlova.
So we are on Entropy. I should remind people so you can go over there and ask a question and also send through a super chat if you so desire. I'll put the link in again because, of course, don't forget YouTube. Even if you do send super chats through YouTube, the money might not make it to the creator because of the December 12th is when the YouTube terms and conditions change, that if your channel is not deemed commercially viable, then YouTube can unilaterally decide to terminate it. Yes.
It's their platform. They do what they want, I guess.
Ben Swan, who he did the reality check segment on American TV until he got fired for giving mainstream media viewers too much of reality. He made the point that the whole idea of YouTube, that it allowed you to upload videos, YouTube, but of course all of the corporate media have now come on, so basically they should call it CorpTube now. It's consumer fraud to call it YouTube now because it's not about you anymore, it's about Corp.
Someone is suggesting, Australian Protectionist Party is suggesting that we discuss the Medivac bill.
Yes, you must have missed the beginning of the show.
Yeah, we touched on it earlier.
Jackie Lambie was the crucial vote. The undertaking she gained from the Morrison government cannot be disclosed for national security reasons. So Labor senators are acting all triggered, headed by Christina Casilia, saying, "What is this secret deal? We demand to know." But there is actually no obligation on either of the parties, the Morrison government and Jackie Lambie, to disclose what this deal was. It's these sort of quid pro quos, as they're called in the Senate, happened all the time. You look like, what is it, Ron Swanson from Parks and Recreations as well, which is, what was his catchphrase? Slash it, in terms of government spending.
Yeah, he's also very fond of woodworking, which I'm just getting into. I've been attending my local men's shed. I highly recommend it. Today I was shown how to use a wood lathe for the first time. And I made, or with some assistance, I've been making a new handle for a wood chisel. So that's exciting. I'm going to be restoring a brush hook. So it's like one of those old. It kind of looks like a small scythe that you put on a long stick for like cutting down lantana. Anyway, it's like it's all, you know, old Aussie dudes. I'm the youngest person there. Great atmosphere. Get down to your local men's shed, like support it, get around it.
Now, I can't believe that you wanted to wrap up where we haven't even got to your area of expertise, which is following
right.
the Jeffrey Epstein continuing scandal, which is now Prince Andrew he's under the media spotlight now for his friendship with Jeffrey Epstein, and also we should not forget Jeffrey Epstein's madame and girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, who
You didn't call her Ghislaine.
yes, who is still a free woman, even though she should basically be the world's most wanted woman. There should basically be the world's biggest woman hunt for her, because a lot of people believe that she was probably the more manipulative one in recruiting these girls, and she was smarter than Epstein. And so you've done an update today on the Unshackled. I'll bring it up here on the screen.
Just
Is
to
Prince
clarify,
Andrew being a scapegoat and a distraction?
There seemed to have been a little bit of confusion about what a scapegoat is. As if I was suggesting that Prince Andrew is innocent, and then someone even went so far as to say that
he's a fall guy. He's a sacrificial lamb.
Exactly. So he's been used. Well, I mean, there's two perspectives as I see it. There's the idea that we need to get him one by one. That's fair. And the other is that, well, the idea that I'm putting forward, or at least I'm trying to foster debate here. That they're attempting to make it all about him. It's all about him in the media, right? What about all of the other people?
Yes.
And if you follow the article, there's a link to my other article where I outlined some pretty big names that were exposed in his little black book. How about I rattle through a few of these names here and discuss their significance? We've got Ehud Barak, a former Prime Minister of Israel. Lord and Lady Beaumont, I guess they're royalty of some kind. Vanessa von Bismarck, the Bismarck family being quite significant and connected, one of those titans of industry type dynasties. Debbie and Bola von Bismarck. David Blaine, the magician. So we've got links to Hollywood,
maybe he
music industry.
He magically made Epstein kill himself.
Or maybe he magically made the trafficked victims disappear once they were done with them. That's a bit of dark humor there. Conrad Black, who was a Wall Street executive who was, he was arrested and jailed for running a Ponzi scheme. We've got Mike Bloomberg, Tony Blair.
Yes,
British
of course, Mike Bloomberg. Yeah, he's just as the presidential race, and of course has been photographed with Ghislaine Maxwell posing for a photo. I should say it's not just a random snap. He, little Michael, as Trump calls him, he is very little because Ghislaine Maxwell, she towers over him, and of course women are naturally shorter than men, so it just shows that nickname is probably well placed.
So we've got...
yes, Ghislaine Maxwell. So yes, she alleged.
Yeah,
that
she's. Oh yeah, go on.
Alleged that she was going to come out of hiding ready to testify to the FBI. It hasn't happened yet.
Which I mentioned in the article. I'll probably do a write-up on it at some point, but for anybody who wants to go down the rabbit hole, Mr. Mitoka, he's been taken off YouTube recently.
We should say it's not the rabbit hole if it's just simply making factual connections.
Well, yeah, okay. Well, so basically...
It's basically black pill. Like, if you want to take the black pill...
It's a massive black pill. Yeah.
There's Ghislaine at Chelsea Clinton's wedding. She basically popped up everywhere.
Yep, they were quite connected. I was reading an article today where they were saying that Epstein collected big names like somebody would collect, silverware.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I make the point that her going to the FBI, it doesn't mean anything, really, because if you look at the history of the FBI, I make mention of, and I wonder if that's going to get our article censored, a declassified FBI report on the Finders from 1980s, where they uncovered a child exploitation ring, which had significant links to intelligence agencies, including the CIA, where it was derived. It was basically a mind control experiment gone completely out of hand. They were acquiring children for rich foreign people, and the intelligence agencies just made the evidence disappear. You can look it up. I've got the link in my article to the direct FBI declassified yet heavily redacted Finders report, where they outline how they found these children being trafficked across to Mexico with some bullshit cover story. The children were disheveled and filthy. They were, the police officers in the area were told that they were being weaned off of their parents, and that's why they weren't with their parents. And yet, so these local PD tried to investigate, but funnily enough, all their cases were shut down. And in there you've got these large scale, daycare centers with tunnels underneath, where they were doing satanic rituals.
Well, that was
legit.
all that the consensus in these days.
Satanic panic.
Yes, that's what.
They claimed that, but that was how they were trying to shut the whole thing down to make it go away. This is really happening. They didn't fabricate that evidence. They've got it there in the report. They found animal bones, out the back of these secret tunnels underneath this daycare center, where there was the fire alarms were rerouted to be panic alarms. So if the place was getting raided, they could alert each other.
And we should finish off this segment here by reminding everyone of Ghislaine Maxwell's father, Robert Maxwell, who was highly influential and flamboyant media mogul in the 1980s. He owned the Daily Mirror in the UK. He was basically rivaled Rupert Murdoch back in the day. He met a suspicious death in 1991 when he fell off his yacht, which was called the Lady Ghislaine, and this was just as his media empire was about to collapse, because he bought the Daily Mirror with his company's pension fund, and it was deemed a suicide, his falling off the yacht.
Was it?
Yes, it was deemed a suicide.
Oh, I'd read that it was deemed as natural causes or heart attack or something.
No,
that
he suicided off his yacht. And he was given a lavish funeral in Israel, which 6 senior members of Mossad attended. So yes, would you dare say there's some sort of family business going on?
Yeah, it seems, we've talked about it before, it seems like sexual compromise is their business model. And I make the point, I'm like, how else do they keep control of, these celebrities all have handlers, these large celebrities that, like Britney Spears, when she lost the plot and shaved her head, the handlers were trying to rein her in. Like, there's all this talk about, oh man, have you ever heard the conspiracies about Project MK Ultra and the Monarch?
Yes,
I think it's Project Monarch. The whole
Paul Film Co-op, he has posted some. Well, we haven't confirmed this news ourselves. Apparently, Owen Benjamin was banned from YouTube today. I would say that that was probably coming, given what some of the things that Owen Benjamin posts. I mainly see his Instagram posts. I know that he and Nick Fentes are not best buddies, so he's sort of not. He's got his detractors on the far right as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's different approaches to informing and waking people up, and from what I've seen, he has quite a blunt instrument approach, which might convince some people, but I feel like that will probably turn more people away than it will. Nick Fuentes is has a bit more finesse in his style, which I think is needed. Like going out and ranting about the tribe and naming them isn't necessarily the best approach.
Which could there be? Should someone else sort of pipe down about who's been posting a lot about the tribe on another social media network? Should they pipe down as well? If you know who I'm talking about.
I'm not sure who you're talking about. No.
Someone who's posting a lot about them on a platform called Gab.
Oh, I see. Were they
Yes.
named in the latest eCash report?
Yes, they had a few pages dedicated to them. So yes. If you don't want to end up like Owen Benjamin, that's my free advice, because I know how hard you worked for those YouTube subs.
I think it's important to focus on, to bring it back. Like people can get carried away with that stuff, and you have to bring it back to, okay, what is it that we are trying to achieve, and how do you best go about doing that? That I think people don't ask that question often enough. Pragmatism is the best approach, in my opinion. And that is, like I said, young Labor. Why doesn't Labor win elections? Because they're not focused on their base. What is their base? What are the issues that impact their base? How do we if we want to build a populist movement in Australia, for example, how do you go about doing that? You don't try to alienate as many people as you can for a start. But, I don't know anything. I'm just a guy who writes articles and, I'm a humble woodworker now.
Have you heard that Jessica Yaniv, the trans woman who attempted to sue those salons who wouldn't
Is now
wax
going
her
after
balls?
gynecologists.
Yes. Let's have a look at her tweet now. You have to use the correct pronoun and not dead name her, because the Australian Christian Alliance, Facebook took down their post which dead named her. So obviously we're wanting to maintain community standards here. So we'll always refer to her Jessica Yaniv. So this is her latest tweet. So gynecologist office that I got referred to. Who referred you? That's what I want to know. Literally told me that we don't serve transgender patients. And me being me, yes, you are you. I'm shocked and confused. Well, yes, you are very confused and hurt. Are they allowed to do that legally? Isn't that against the college practices? And
well, I mean, you don't have a vagina, so
yes, yeah. And is Jessica aware of the instrument that they use at gynecology clinics? So a lot of people have been saying that looks like a pretty I would say, if somebody's snapping that at you, you want them to be careful. And so a lot of people have been saying on Twitter, maybe the gynecologist should put that somewhere else.
Yep, just go, oh, yep, everything's in order. Now get the fuck out of my office. Go see a psychologist. Far out, Brussels sprout.
Yes, so...
At this stage, it's pretty obvious that it's just rent-seeking behavior. It's... okay, how can I monetize these new social trends?
Exactly.
Didn't work with the waxing salons. Like, oh shit, who's next? How can I rent seek from another group of people? And this is going to be great, because I'd love the Gynecologist Association of America or whatever, or Canada or whatever this individual is from, to bring the smackdown. Like force it into a fight that it cannot win. I really hope that happens. Not that I would wish any harm on this individual, but they clearly need humbling, and to realize that doing this, it's not even beneficial to the trans community, frankly. This person seems to think that they're like some kind of warrior and they're fighting on everybody else's behalf. But no, you're just a rent seeker.
Yeah, and she is from Canada, of course. From Langley in British Columbia, which is
Yes.
Justin Trudeau's home province.
That's where the BC bud comes from, man. That's the good stuff, man.
And I do want to. I mentioned it on the Uncuckables last week. I haven't had the time to download the footage, but Onision, who was quite a famous YouTuber for over a decade with his cringe, silly videos. His most famous one was where he dressed up as a banana and sang a song. He has been under intense media or YouTube media scrutiny because it's alleged that he has groomed some of his young teenage girl fans, including one who came to live with him and his partner now, Kai, because they've gone to using male pronouns now. This girl alleged she moved in to them when she was 16, and yes, when she turned 18, that's when they sort of moved in. So Onision got his Patreon deleted last week for doxing the private conversations he'd had with this alleged victim, and then he had a meltdown where
I hope he's been demonetized, because the video of him having a meltdown got like 400,000 views. So that's what, $7 per 1,000 views.
Oh, I'm not sure if there was an
That's,
ad there. Yes. So Onision, he had a full meltdown where he like took off his stripped down to his underwear and he poured champagne on himself. And so
But this, like, is he okay? So he's clearly a little bit messed up, right?
yeah, he's
But made a
34
lot of
years
money.
old. Yes.
He's behaving like his early 20s emo kid still. Yeah, he's clearly got some problems, but how much of it is theater? Right, and if a significant portion of it is theater, and it's because his erratic behavior is encouraged through the monetization process, he's making a mockery of mental illness and schizophrenia, which is okay, cool business model, right? You don't know whether to pity him or gulag him. Personally, like, yeah. I found him annoying. Like, he's been getting trolled for years. Like, people would post on his page like spam, like onion boy.
Yeah, onion man. Like, well, why would you basically call yourself onion? Like, put onion in your name. Well,
He's so random.
Yeah. Well, he
LOL.
is acting, or he is reacting like an onion man, because onions, when they're being chopped up, they make you cry. And so, well, he's being
Right.
chopped up, and so he's crying over it because he's an onion.
You would really do that? You would really do that?
And so I know that Hunter Avalon and Blair White, basically the two anti-SJW YouTubers who'd gone after him the most aggressively, have basically posted reaction videos where they're basically just laughing at, because he's been pretty aggressive, like towards them at least, in if they use any of his footage, copyright claiming it, and he'd sent Blair White cease and desist letters for investigating his alleged victims. But Blair White, she managed to get the original predator catcher involved in this, Chris Hansen, who of course hosted the To Catch a Predator segment on NBC Dateline. Of course, he used to walk in on those predators who thought they were meeting up with a young person for sex, and he said, "Why don't you take a seat right over there?" He's got a live stream channel now, Hansen versus Predator, and he's said now that he's passed on a dossier on Onision to the FBI.
No, it'll be good. He should do some time if the allegations are true. And I think.
And it's good that Chris
you wanna give the benefit
Hansen
of the doubt.
now is moving onto, basically, because there are a lot of predators who are YouTubers. There was one who was convicted of receiving child pornography, Austin Jones, and I think YouTube, to my knowledge, only deleted him after he was convicted.
Yep, it's a never-ending struggle against this. Oh dear.
Yeah. Well, we might wrap this up now. I'll say goodbye to you, Martin. I won't encroach on your gaming time, your dangerous gaming. So game safe.
I will.
Yes,
I won't oppress any women or minorities.
Yes,
in the process.
and don't get too upset by the comments in the chat. Don't do anything crazy.
Ooh, yeah, no. Going to the men's shed's actually been really good. I feel more even-keeled and better socialized. It's I can take it in my stride. Totally not going to go cry into my pillow now. No,
Yes,
alright,
yes, you
cool.
don't want your pillow in your bed to be wet.
That sounds disgusting. All right, Tim, thanks for having me. See you later, everybody.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.
All right. I hope you enjoyed my chat, banter, and analysis with Martin. Now, before we wrap up and go over to Dia's weekly live stream, I just want to mention that I wrote about it briefly in an article I published on Victorian Premier Daniel Andrews appointing his former Chief of Staff to be the Assistant Victorian Police Commissioner for Gender Equality and Inclusion. And I mentioned that that's not the only controversy Daniel Andrews is dealing with at the moment. He had dinner in 2017 with what's termed a dodgy developer who is now under investigation by the state's corruption watchdog for giving donations to some City of Casey councillors. And of course, probably most disturbingly, Daniel Andrews has signed Victoria up to the Chinese government's One Belt, One Road infrastructure project initiative. And Morgan Jonas, who runs the Facebook page MCJ Media, he's organising an anti Belt Road protest on the steps of Victoria's Parliament on Sunday, the 15th of December. So I just want to end the show by playing this Facebook video that Morgan has made to promote the rally.
Hey guys, Morgan here, MCJ Media. I'd like you to share this video as far and wide as you can. This is a very, very important topic that really does have the potential to affect everybody in our country. So some of you may have seen that I am co-organising an event on the 15th of next month, 2 p.m. here in Melbourne on the steps of Parliament House, to stand against the Belt and Road initiative here in Victoria. So that is essentially a huge Chinese infrastructure financing operation that Daniel Andrews has gone and signed against the advice of Scott Morrison and Peter Dutton and many other people. Some people may not be aware that this is going on. There's only been a couple of news articles published, but it's very, very important to bring to everyone's attention that this project really does have the potential to put our safety and security at risk. So I'll try to explain it as best as I can. So instead of going ahead and getting, say, Victorian development companies to head up these projects, Daniel Andrews decided that these huge infrastructure projects in Victoria should be run and managed by Chinese companies. But it doesn't stop there. Often with the Belt and Road initiative, you've got not just the Chinese development companies handling the projects, they bring over the materials, they bring over a lot of the time their own concrete and steel, and in some cases they bring up to 70% of their own Chinese workers. So thus undercutting the local job market, and jobs that should have been going to, say, the people of the country end up going into Chinese nationals. All right, so that's one thing there. And often the interest rates are quite high. They have been as high as 5% for these financing projects. So it's a pretty terrible deal. And usually this type of arrangement is organized with developing countries, not developed first world countries like Australia. But here's the real crux of the issue right here. What happens if we take out this finance and we're unable to pay the loan? As you guys know, the Victorian budget has gone into deficit. It seems that Daniel Andrews and his crew have been really unable to manage money at this point. So what makes us think they're going to be able to manage a massive Chinese loan? Well, countries that default on their loans with China via this project, they end up having to part with their vital economic assets. We've seen countries lose ports, we've seen them lose huge businesses, we've seen them lose infrastructure and resources in many, many instances. And if that was to happen, more control and influence would be handed over to the Chinese Communist Party, and as a result of that, they would have more influence in the political process of the country of which they are operating, in which case it would be our backyard. This is absolutely crazy. It's been criticized by many, many people in the media, Neil Mitchell and many of our prominent members of parliament. So guys, we really need to take a stand against this, because if we remain quiet, then this type of thing will become more commonplace, and we may find ourselves in a position that there's no going back from. So, along with Fiona Hoy from South Australia, we are co-organising an event to stand against Daniel Andrews and to oppose the Belt and Road Initiative in Victoria. We think it's a security threat, and we think that it jeopardizes our industry and of course our security moving forward. So next month, 15th of December, 2 p.m. on the steps of Parliament House right here in Australia. Be quiet no more. Come out, make your voices heard, stand with us. We've got some excellent guest speakers, the names of which will be announced very, very soon. But guys, be brave, don't take it lying down. These types of projects should be for Australian companies, not Chinese companies. We don't want the Chinese Communist Party further infiltrating our political system. We've seen recently what's going on with the spies and everything that they would like to do to subvert our country here. And all I can say is that Australia is worth fighting for. It's not over. So get off the couch, come down and join us. December 15th, 2 p.m, steps of Parliament House right here in Melbourne. I'll catch yous then.
Yep, there we go there. That video was posted to the Facebook event page, which I noticed a few people in the comments that they wanted to be promoted elsewhere than Facebook. That's why I'm promoting it on my show, and of course the Unshackled will be promoting it in the lead up, because it's only a week and a half away. That's it for WilmsFront tonight. There'll be no show this Friday night, but I'll be back Sunday night. There's a few guests I can choose from for Sunday night's show, but I'll let you know who it is when they're locked in. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel while you can. Click the bell to allow notifications so you can catch the show from when it goes live. Please hit the like button, comment, share. Of course, I have my own show website at timwilms.com that has my social media links: facebook.com/WilmsFront, twitter.com/WilmsFront, gab.com/TimWilms, and minds.com/TimWilms. It's got a link to the podcast version of the show where I'm on Apple, Spotify, TuneIn Radio, and Stitcher. So, as I said, Dear Beltran is starting in a moment. I'll be back tomorrow night with the Uncockables, 8:30 p.m. Melbourne time on the dedicated Uncockables YouTube channel. And of course, most weekday mornings, Detonation with my colleague Steel Archer, and which is the archive of episodes is on his site, steelarcher.com. The Unshackled main YouTube channel is the home of the Report from Tiger Mountain with Richard Wollstonecroft. there will be a new episode up at the end of this week. And of course, Trans Tasman Talk, which is streamed live Tuesday 7 p.m. on the Unshackled main channel, which I host with my New Zealand counterpart, the editor of Right Minds, Dewey de Boer. You can check out last night's show there as well. Of course, if you want to support our work, apart from sending through a super chat when we're live, you can sign up for a membership at the unshackled.net/membership. We have our donation form, the unshackled.net/donate. And of course, we are on PayPal, Patreon, and Subscribestar, and have a shop at the unshackled.net/store. All right, that is it for tonight. I don't know who Dia has got on her show, but I assume you'll be all heading over there. And I will see you tomorrow night for the Uncockables and WilmsFront next on Sunday. So good night, everybody.
Thanks for tuning in to WilmsFront. Visit timwilms.com or Rational Rise TV to view the archive of episodes. And keep visiting theunshackled.net to view all our shows. And to keep up with the latest real news and analysis.